My opponent doesn't believe in abortions, but my opponent also have to stay 80 feet away from schools.
You wouldn't need an abortion if you were in a whore. Into it there. Woo! All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of the HB Half Hour. I'm the Honest Bachelor. With us in the studio, as always, is James at Amos Blackman.
My name is Blackman on Instagram, yes, sir.
Hey-o. Okay, so a few things before we get started, some house cleaning things we're going to take care of. So first off, subscribe, comment, and like the show. That is very, very important. We need it to grow. We also need you to watch the show all the way through. Right now, you guys are only watching half, so you're missing the climax.
Yeah.
Insane things happen right at the end that you've been missing out on the entire time.
Yeah, they cut off the video, huh?
Yeah, much like porn. You miss the end of that. And
you only know who comes in with the pizza. You don't know who leaves with the pizza.
Yeah. I wonder how many like messed up things I've been watching in a porn that I didn't even know were messed up until the end. Like, yeah, it could have ended up in like a beheading and I didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't usually make it.
So if you want to help fund the show in any way, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, we take them all. Everything helps. It all goes right back into the production of the show. So eventually we can make it out of the garage and you won't have to hear airplanes and motorcycles and very loud semis. So with that said, this is how the show works. We have 6 topics that we cover each week. They mostly stay about the same. This is no different. History, opinion, news, entertainment, sex, and technology. We're going to be talking about foster homes, having raffles in the history section, cultural appropriation for the opinion, girls and Boy Scouts, some funny campaign videos, sex fetishes, and then for technology, some ridiculous makeshift inventions. So with that said, let's do it. First off, for history, so you remember the baby drop box, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, do I?
Yeah, I guess there's been like some just really long, rampant tradition of trying to get rid of your babies in interesting ways. And it's been going on since, well, let's see, dating all the way back to 1911.
Okay.
So in 1911 in France, they used to hold an annual baby raffle where they would raffle off a baby to a bunch of different people. So they would raise money for charities and for other foster homes. And then at the end, the lucky couple got a free baby.
Yes.
I have a couple questions about this. Like, why not just give everyone that wants a baby
just
a baby? It's like, hey, you're a good parent. Because they did vet them before. The article mentions that they vetted them before, and they said, okay, yeah, you're a fit parent. They didn't just raffle it to whatever lucky homeless person wanted a kid to cuddle with.
Baby drop box.
Or eat.
Yeah.
They gave it to actually, like, pre-screened parents. So why not just give all the kids away? Like,
this baby must have been a golden child or something.
That was my next question. Like, how do they choose the free kid?
But what happens if the kid's not a golden child?
I don't know. I don't think that... What's the return policy? I didn't look at that. No, but how did they choose the free kid?
Oh, it's Mexican.
I have another question. Like, why don't we do this in the U.S.? Did you know that we have somewhere around, just in any given year, about 500,000 kids that are trying to get adopted?
Absolutely.
They're just chilling there, causing crimes or, future criminals. Meanwhile, 2 million parents are trying desperately to have a kid. Mm-hmm. They got to settle for like adopting a Russian at the end of it.
Or an African kid.
Yeah, well, that's trendy. That's like the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
No, I do think that that's kind of weird that we don't have something, not a raffle, but just... Have you ever seen a foster home?
Yeah.
I've never driven past one as far as I know in my entire life. Where are they? Like, Dana Tosh has a stand-up about this.
Yeah.
You've never heard someone giving directions where, like, okay, if you pass the foster home, you've gone too far. You don't know where the hell these are. They need better advertising.
Yeah.
Like, have a sign up.
Yeah, but then also it's like a niche market, man, because if you want a kid, you'll find out how to get a kid.
I guess. But maybe if it was more in our face, like in the arms of the angels.
Oh my God!
Like,
we care about animals more than we do about it.
Right?
Like facts.
Facts. We really do. Like these animals, most of them, like I don't know, 50% of them are probably being put down. We put more advertising into that.
Yeah, and now
human children that end up being criminals after.
And
time.
then it actually affects our economy because then we have to America pisses me off so much. It's awful, but like I know I'm a part. When I see people die, I don't care anymore. I'm being so serious.
That's coming from a true Chicago native.
So
right there.
morbid, but just.
Woo! All right.
It's
I don't know how to segue out of that. I'm going to try, though. Okay, moving on now to opinion. Okay, so my opinion is about cultural appropriation. I mentioned that a little bit in the intro. Mm-hmm. It's gotten ridiculous. It really has. So if you think that cultural appropriation has gotten ridiculous, and I'll expand on that a little bit. Don't comment right now. Wait for me to finish my entire thought. But if you think it's gotten ridiculous, or if you think it's a totally necessary thing that we have, let us know in the comments. Comment, like, dislike, subscribe. Let us know what you think. But I have some examples of why I think that. Just off of that, what do you think about cultural appropriation? What are your first thoughts?
Well, cultural appropriation. I said that.
Well, I'll give the definition first, actually.
Yeah.
So the definition of cultural appropriation, it's a concept dealing with the adoption of the elements of minority culture by members of the dominant culture. Cultural elements which may have deep meaning to the original culture may be reduced to exotic fashion or toys by those from the dominant culture. That's just an example.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing about this. I agree with it in some instances. But, and I'll give you an example. Black girls, or even myself, because I had braids when I was in high school. When you had braids, like, first of all, you couldn't wear it in school. At some schools, you can't do that, right? Mm-hmm. And then you would also some kids would get made fun of for having braids or whatever. But then when the Kardashians did it, they said that. I remember all these blogs Kardashians with the new trend, and it was just braids is all it was. But they're new trend starting by these people, and it's no, dog, we've been doing this forever. That's cultural appropriation, and they benefited off of it. They actually got, they made money from, and it's just dude, that is the dumbest thing. Now there are lots of examples like that I agree with, and I'm just yeah, dude, first of all, them, right? But here's another thing why I don't agree with cultural appropriation, because then also you're not allowing you're not letting anyone into our world. Let's say I'm just speaking for black people. You're literally saying this is for us. You can't see it. How will people ever learn about you? I do believe imitation is the best form of flattery, right? Yeah, so in order to learn about someone, that's you do the things that they do. There are good things, and there are people who abuse it and kill it. People will ruin or kill anything. It only takes one person to ruin it for everyone, right? Yeah. So the bracing, I said that example, but there's also other things that annoy me. That's cultural appropriation. You're okay, relax. That's been around forever. And then there are other things that I'm just dude, I remember seeing some girl who talked about Bruno Mars, and it was he was cultural appropriation. And
I saw that.
I'm no, that's not though. You know what I mean? So I think people abuse it. So
they use it as an excuse to basically say you're not like me, so don't
segregate themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they're trying to separate themselves out, and they want to hold on to what makes them special and unique. And the line is so difficult to actually it's very hard to draw the rules for this. So here's examples where I think it makes sense. You probably shouldn't wear a yarmulke unless you're a Jew, like an Orthodox Jew, because that actually has a deep meaning to it. It's a spiritual thing. Let me be very clear. I don't care about any of this at all. Yeah. I'm just saying where I think other people might get offended. What it comes down to for me is, does it have a deep meaning? And then probably it falls under cultural appropriation. Pretty much everything else is a celebration or an enjoyment of that culture. And so if you were to go out just in the street wearing a sombrero, there's people that will call that cultural appropriation. You could really love Mexican culture. That's a celebration of Mexican culture. Now, if you were to go out wearing a sombrero and a fake mustache, holding a beer and some maracas, and you were being a stereotype, if you were lampooning Mexican culture, that's completely different. And I think those lines have become blurred.
I was gonna say that, you said it, but yeah. And who's in charge of this? Who's making the rules and deciding?
I don't know. And there's some really strange examples. Okay, so this one's great. There's a kid who posted on Twitter saying, my culture is not a prom dress. And so he's very upset about it. His name is Jeremy Lamb. And there's this girl, she wore a Chinese dress. She's an Asian kid that's upset that she's wearing a Chinese traditional dress called a kipao or kipao.
She's Chinese?
She was white, and she wore it as a prom dress. Well, you go to find out that then they asked a bunch of people in China what they thought, and they were excited by it. Because here's the thing that we don't talk about enough. If that's cultural appropriation, wearing someone else's cultural dress, then the entire world is culturally appropriating the U.S. every day. That's our main export. Our main export is our culture.
Yeah.
Our movies, our clothing, our like
rap.
Everything. Yes. Our
That's
music.
how you get your
Well, they looked back at Jeremy's tweets. And Jeremy has a couple tweets that he had that weren't savory, to say the least.
Oh, man.
And so I don't think Jeremy Lamb is necessarily the kind of guy who's allowed to have a say in this circumstance. Yeah, don't try to be the leader
The voice
of
of reason.
morality if you're tweeting stuff like this. That's not his only tweet either. I mean, there's a bunch of them. The grossest example that I can find of this going too far. I'm going to play this as much in the middle of the road as I can. So there is a burrito shop in Portland, Oregon. It's where I'm from, so you're going to get a sense of the kind of environment that I had to pussyfoot. No, walk on eggshells around. Yeah, that I had to be very careful around. So this restaurant got shut down. By now, it's probably a couple years, but it was called Kook's. It's a burrito restaurant in Portland. Was a burrito restaurant in Portland, and it was shut down for cultural appropriation. And what they said is white chefs shouldn't cook Mexican food. That was the idea.
That was a tagline?
that was the headline. It was everywhere. Huffington Post. Everyone's talking about how white chefs cook burritos. I'm like, what the hell are we even talking about anymore?
Yeah.
So this is me playing devil's advocate here, but they interviewed the owners of the restaurant, and I think this is why it caught so much fire. They said, yeah, so we asked the chefs down in Puerto Nuevo how to make their burritos, and they wouldn't give us the main ingredients or anything, but they just gave us the basic ingredients. But then we looked through their windows and watched to see how we could actually steal their recipe.
Well, they doomed themselves.
They shouldn't have said that. That probably wasn't a good idea. The more I think about this idea of white chefs cooking burritos, the more I think that we're not going far enough with it, honestly. We're not. Like, I think that white people and just any other race should have their own bathroom. And maybe a partition in the restaurant that like keeps the black people away from the white people.
And like Mexicans in one and like Chinese people.
Yeah, of course. Different water fountains. That would be a good idea.
Like, yeah, every race gets their own water fountain.
And I think it's actually cultural appropriation to marry another race. That's pretty messed up too.
That you are blending of cultures.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't like any of that.
Yeah, I think every culture should marry their within their culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
Well, dude, hold on. Wait. This sounds really familiar. You sure you didn't get this from somewhere?
Yeah, there's this article right here. It had a bunch of really good ideas. It's about Jim Crow laws. Basically, all we're talking about here is saying that, like, if you're white, you shouldn't cook other races. This is segregation.
That's all it is. Segregation, man. Like, yeah, at the very...
We're moving in reverse.
I do.
What it comes down to, though, is the problem that they have is that it's a white chef profiting off of a minority community. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're taking the most literal definition, which, again, it's the majority culture taking a minority culture, the dominant, as they put it. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a problem with Mexicans doing it or even Asians. It's white people in America are dominant, and so you may not cook the culture of any other country because that's you profiting off the backs of brown people. That's the whole idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
You're down for it now?
I'm down.
I accidentally sold you into it. God damn it.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I mean, cultural appropriation is a pretty normal thing. You see it everywhere. Like, right here. Look at him appropriating.
Oh, I want that so bad. Both sides would love that.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on now to news. Boy Scouts of America is now allowing girls to be in it. They changed their name to Scouts BSA. So Scouts, Boy Scouts of America. Makes no sense.
So wait, quick question. So boys are allowed to go in Girl Scouts then, right?
No.
What do you mean?
No, it's only girls are allowed in Boy Scouts, not the reverse.
How is that equal?
Well, the idea is not to be equal. So this is my theory behind it. The theory is that any activity that's exclusive to boys must be better And if you're keeping girls out of it, then that's a problem. But the thing that I don't even agree with that. I don't agree with that at all, because boys and girls learn differently and they like different things. Now, if a girl likes a boy activity, you tell Girl Scouts of America, you say, hey, I really like tying knots. And then Girl Scouts of America, and they've already done this, Girl Scouts of America is like, oh, okay, a bunch of girls want to tie knots. Let's add it to our program. But they don't need to let girls in. Girl Scouts of America just needs to fix their program.
Yeah.
If there's things that aren't being met, if there's wants that aren't being met, then Boy Scouts of America doesn't need to change for Girl Scouts of America failing in their program.
Facts.
Yeah. And here's the reason why it's a problem. A lot of people are like, whoa, what's the big deal? Boys can't act like boys. We're talking about little boys.
This makes me so angry, actually. I just...
You're over there fuming.
Yeah.
Boys are afraid of little girls. And they're afraid of acting like themselves around little girls. Even if they're gay, it doesn't matter. You're not going to act totally like yourself unless you're around other people that are your gender. Gender doesn't exist as a construct. But I'm just like reading the comments in my head beforehand. But boys are most comfortable around little boys, and there's just so many studies that show this, that little boys learn better around their own gender and girls learn better around their own gender. That's not necessarily a case for like all schools should be sex segregated, but there is a lot of studies that show that they do learn better. Boys have more fun being around just little boys. They don't have as much fun. They can't act like themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, no.
I'm fuming over here.
But it does go back to one of our first episodes where we talked about how little boys are being neglected, and now you're going to tear down one of the last remaining programs that's exclusive to
this
them.
is news to me, guys. I just found out by Chris. So I got to do some research. I got to go home because my little cousin, she's a Girl Scout, and I know, and she's in middle school.
Girl Scouts are mad about it too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Girl Scout program is pissed because now they're going to lose members.
Of course,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, crazy part about it. So the Mormon Church, which has been involved in the program for over 100 years, they're not going to do it anymore. They're not going to send boys there because the Mormons make up somewhere around 20% of Boy Scouts. They're not going to send their kids. They're going to make their own program. They don't want to be a part of it. So now
that's what I see. I mean, this may cripple Boy Scouts, actually.
Oh, for sure.
But what I see from that is it cripples both parties, and there's going to be another party that open up.
That's the hope. I mean, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on to entertainment. So this is not in the celebrity world. I'm very bored with celebrities. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple funny news-ish stories. So first off, I'm sure you guys have seen this chick all over social media at this point. There's a woman that was arrested for sending over 65,000 texts to an ex-boyfriend.
What? I can't even get a text back.
Yeah. Well, just date her. You'll get a couple. Yeah, so I did the math on this. If you were to send one text a minute every day for 16 hours a day, it would take you 68 days to send 65,000 texts.
Jesus.
That's insane to me. Like, what? This chick had nothing else going on, and I have a video of her.
Yeah.
I can't see how she's the type of person who would do this. This really caught me off guard. Because, I was watching her. I was like, this is a normal, well-adjusted woman.
Hi, guys. Hi. I'm Jackie. Okay. You want to ask me questions? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Why don't you start from the beginning? How did you wind up here?
I wound up here on a road trip from Florida, looking for, I guess, love. And I was following the number 33. I used to wake up every day and every night at 3:33. It was always 3:33, 3333. So I kept following the number, and I said, why am I following the number 33? And I spoke to a psychic, and she told me I have the same birth chart as Jesus.
Imagine you're on a date with this chick and she says that to you.
Oh, God.
Holy hell.
You got to be careful who you talk to,
Just
man.
the way she talks is like creeps.
It's just, did I talk to you?
You guys have questions?
And then I know Jesus. And then my birth chart,
Dude.
it's the same as Moses. And then I was actually on the original ark.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's been a few, we're moving on now, there's been a few different campaign ads that have come out. We're getting close to election time. And so there's this guy. Well, I'm going to skip to the end here a little bit, but he ended up not winning the election or the primary nomination. He ended up not winning the nomination for the Republican Party. I wonder why.
Hi, I'm Don Blankenship, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. The politicians are running a lot of crazy ads. They blew up the coal mine and then put me in prison. Now they're running ads that say the coal mine blew up and I went to prison. There's no surprise there. But if you want jobs, if you want to end the drug epidemic, and you want to protect the unborn, you need to vote for me. One of my goals as U.S. Senator will be to ditch Cocaine Mitch. When you vote for me, you're voting for the sake of the kids. Hi, I'm Don Blankenship, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Swamp Captain Mitch McConnell has created millions of jobs for China people. While doing so, Mitch has gotten rich. In fact, his China family has given him tens of millions of dollars. Mitch's swamp people are now running false negative ads against me. They are also childishly calling me despicable and mentally ill. The war to drain the swamp and create jobs for West Virginia people has begun. I will beat Joe Manchin and ditch Cocaine Mitch for the sake of the kids.
Most incredible ad ever. But here's
Is that what he said? Swamp people?
Yeah, and China people. Him and his China family. Yeah, well, if you think that's funny, you should see who he's running against.
My opponent believes that babies should be born even when they're conceived. Then what's the exact rate and what week should they be killed? Well, my opponent believes that we shouldn't kill them at all. You should try being a 16-year-old mom from Virginia or West Virginia. My cousin lived in a house where there were guns present, multiple guns. He also died in that house. Months later from diabetes. But there are guns in the house. I knew relatives that lived in a house where they are currently being possessed by the demon. By demon, I mean Republicans. Why? Because there are guns in the house and they didn't accept abortions. But somehow they're able to still get rid of their kid. How? Because they were smoking marijuana. My opponent doesn't believe in abortions, but my opponent also has to stay 80 feet away from schools.
So Pat Davis is running, and he decided he'd go for the wow factor.
The NRA. Their pro-gun policies have resulted in dead children, dead mothers, and dead fathers. I'm Pat Davis, and I approve this message, because if Congress won't change our gun laws, we're changing Congress.
Where's my ballot?
Like,
I gotta vote.
I gotta vote
for this guy.
I get what he tried to do.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
He accomplished.
Pat Davis
because
wins.
this has over 234,000 views.
No.
Yeah, he won. But did he? Because he didn't win this.
I guarantee he wins the nomination.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a genius.
He won't win the election, but he'll win the nomination.
He took Donald Trump's. He took his entire playbook and just did it. The wow factor nowadays, that's what Americans all about.
The idea is just get your face out there, and then people will look, they'll dig deeper.
Of course,
in the end,
yeah. He doesn't. He probably won't even. He probably even care about the NRA. But he's like, it's a hot topic. Let's talk about it, and I'll say something shocking.
Yeah.
It's provocative. It gets the people going.
I wonder what his outtakes were like. Pedophiles suck. My opponent will touch your kids. Drugs make you gay. Hipsters suck. Do you want people making artisan butter in your town? You wouldn't need an abortion if you weren't a whore. I approve this message. Okay, so we're going to talk about sex now. I have your attention? Okay, good. Let me just tell you, this particular search has destroyed my computer.
Oh, God. What about
my search history is even worse than before when we talked about this. So these are some of the most disturbing, strangest, disgusting fetishes that are out there. Mm-hmm. So first is macrophilia. So what this is it's guys that are turned on by 100-foot tall women. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, how can you be turned on by 100 feet women? There are no 100 feet women.
So what do they do? How do they...
Apparently it only exists on the internet, and so it's like videos of a guy looking up at some giant lake, so they have to use all sorts of camera tricks and stuff, and he's just turned on by looking at them. Like, apparently you can't have sex with them. You'd be swimming in their vagina. So that's a lot of woman. You just have to dive in. But I don't know how you...
I'm just trying to think.
Satisfy
like maybe,
this.
Maybe how they jumped into that is like looking at pictures or videos of Amazonian women.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah,
not big enough.
Taller. Bigger and taller and stronger.
Porn does tend to do that.
You can go in some dark holes.
Yeah, so my thought is that's an impossible one to satisfy. But here's one that's very easy to satisfy. It's called dendrophilia. Mm-hmm. This is being sexually attracted to plants and trees. Talk about convenient.
Talk about a hard time just walking to the store. You can't walk anywhere.
Yeah, so there was a guy, his name's William Shaw. He's a 21-year-old Scottish man. Could have played Guess the Race there, but we skipped to it. He was banned for life from a Scottish park for attempting to bone a tree. The article above states he tried to have simulated sex with a tree while his trousers were around his ankles.
I just don't, like, what do you...
Ouch.
I know. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Did he bore a hole in it, or did he just rub it against the bark? So this is clismophilia. So it's shooting poopy water out of your butt. So it's enemas. You're attracted to giving yourself an enema.
Go, I'm sorry. Just keep talking.
I don't know if I have much else to say. This one is called eproctophilia. Mm-hmm. This is people that are sexually aroused from farting.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Now it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to keep it still.
Of course not.
Yeah. I just edited myself out farting, and I just don't feel like people would take us seriously. Ugh, so awful. Like, I am so turned off by bad smells. That's my main, like, so that's my anti-fetish.
Yeah. Ugh, I would go so soft.
Yeah, that's my birth control.
Yeah.
Coprophilia is the attraction to anything involving crap at all. Anything. Rubbing poop on yourself, eating poop, anything with poop.
You just went like 3 back-to-back poop things, dude.
I feel like it was 2.
Poopity scoop, fart. And
well,
now
you interjected poop into it because it was, I guess it was poop enemas. All right.
You legit have a problem.
Hey, I did not make these things. It just so happens. You know what it is? It's just people that want to feel dirty. What's dirtier than poop?
Blood.
That's menophilia.
Is that the one you were gonna do?
No.
Oh.
But no, menophilia. It's sexual arousal to a woman's period.
Oh, period blood.
Mm.
I mean, we've all been there. Please say something so I don't just look like we've all been there. Nope, you're pretty much on your own there.
I'm leaving that one.
Oh, God. All right, fine.
Okay, so we're going to do our final topic. The final topic is technology. This is more like anti-technology. So this is when technology fails, if we have to reinvent things. I always think about that. Mm-hmm. Like, if the world just ended right now, I couldn't reinvent
yeah, of course.
Nothing. But I guess you don't know what you're capable of inventing until you have to.
Yeah. God, this is brilliant, the toothbrush. Oh, this is good.
This is a really good idea. There should be a different toothbrush for every set of teeth that you have. So as certain ones fall out. But it doesn't even make sense because you don't just brush those teeth. Yeah. You brush the other ones.
This is stupid.
So, you changed your mind really quick on that. Okay, so this one is brilliant.
Innovative.
Yeah.
Can we just go down and give them numbers? 1 being the worst. Yeah. 2 being like, 3 being the best.
Okay.
Out of the let's go.
So this one's 2 just because I think a kid invented it.
I love
Original.
it. 3.
Okay. This is awesome. 1. It is.
You gave it a 1? You're like, this is awesome. 1.
Yeah, it's awesome because it's f***ing stupid.
Does it work?
Hell no. Unless you're like trying to keep a baby out of your car.
Is that tape?
I think it's actually screwed into the actual door. It's like a bathroom stall lock.
If it works, I give it a 2.
Okay.
If it rips off, it's a 1.
Okay, so this I actually think is a super good idea. This is a 3. So this is a washing machine that connects to the toilet bowl, so it uses the same water from the washing machine that dumps out, but puts it in the toilet bowl. That's a great idea.
Until you have a backup.
Yeah.
And do you know what happens with that? Do you know anything about plumbing?
Yeah, it would go right into your laundry.
Yes, it will.
Yeah,
And
so?
even if your laundry's not in there, there's going to be
wash it, bro.
There's going to be a lot of smells shooting up.
I think it's a good idea. So
1.
F you.
1.
I do want to know if this works.
It does.
It does?
It does.
How do you know that?
Because I think my brother did it once.
Really?
And he fried our thing. Yeah.
Oh, so it doesn't work.
Well, it worked for a bit, but he's an idiot. And he's not an electrician. He didn't know how to do it.
He's not an electrician. I wonder how you could find that out.
No, dude.
He's not an electrician. No.
I give that a 1. You got to rate it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's a 1. How popular does this guy think he is? Oh, 1.
Yeah.
Anyone read my... This guy's cheating.
Yeah.
This dude is cheating. For sure.
1. Yeah. Definitely a cheater.
I say 2. They cemented their TV into the wall. I say 3.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. They just cut a hole in the wall, put it in there, and then cemented around it.
3.
Yeah.
3.
But how did they get the cords out? Oh, look.
They put a little...
Yeah, there's a hole to the right.
That it?
That's it. That's everything.
Damn. All right. This was a fun episode.
Yeah, we learned a lot of stuff.
I actually got really annoyed.
Yeah, there's a few things in there that just really set you off. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of the HB Half Hour. Next week is episode 10. So we're going to have a big celebration for episode 10, I'm sure. If you guys want to support the show again, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, make sure you like, subscribe. That's going to do it. We'll see you guys next week.
My opponent, Kristen, the rapist... Sorry. My opponent, Kristen Mark, is for gay marriage.
No, you're for gay marriage.
My opponent, Kristen Mark, is against gay marriage. Weird. Because I find it funny that... Who laughed? Who will make me laugh?
Drugs are gay. Is that what I said?
That's good, though.
Yeah.
My opponent's Republican, which means he's racist.
My opponent wants to ban guns. Democrats.
Sir, I don't think you can say that anymore.
This is why we need guns. Mother pieces of